viewers, and welcome back to the Self-Made Auto channel. So I got this 05 GMC 2500 HD here with a fuel efficient 6-liter, and it has a case of the squeaks and chirps serpentine belt, making all kinds of rackets. Not too uncommon, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard it, you know, perhaps on one of these pickup trucks or another truck or car for that matter. This vehicle has had a couple serpentine belts tossed at it. It's had a new tensioner from the looks of it, and evidently within a few minutes of installing the stuff, it comes back and starts squeaking again. So I've been hired to figure it out, we'll call it. So we're going to take a look. Quite a few items can cause, you know, serpentine belt squeakage. One of the items, particularly on this style engine or this configuration, is pulley alignment. It has an adjustable pulley on it, and in this case it is the power steering pump pulley. Whenever you're doing, you know, work on these, you got to take the power steering pump off, or that, you know, front engine bracket. Say you're doing, I don't know, you got to pull, do the intake on these, or you pull that accessory drive off the side of these. You have to pull the power steering pulley off, take the bolts off, take the whole bracket off, you know, whatever. At any rate, you need to push that pulley back on, and you need to get it set correctly, otherwise you have a misalignment problem, like so, with your pulleys. Now, how do you know if it's aligned? Well, that's what I'm going to show you. First, we'll have a little gander at the noise. May not run good because I got the mass airflow unhooked. Chevy keys. Try this stuff. Pretty classic, right? I think we've all heard it. So like I mentioned, I gotta find the light. Bear with me, folks. Here we go. It can be caused by a host of things. Pulleys, you know, starting to seize up the noise itself, you know, could be generating from, you know, either pulley, alternator bearing, which this alternator appears to have been replaced at some point. You know, faulty tensioners. And tensioners not just in the sense that they don't hold the proper belt tension, but the pivot mechanism starts to go bad, causes pulley misalignment, starts making the belt squawk on the side of the belt, or make the pulley squawk on the edge of the belt. You know, you could have accessories starting to seize, you know, bearings going out of your water pump causing, you know, misalignment. I think what we're going to be after here is the actual power steering pump pulley. Typically when these are pressed on, they're pressed on so they're flush with the shaft that protrudes out of the pump. Now I did at a glance, of course I can't show you because it's kind of difficult to see. I see this one appears to stick out. It's kind of hard to tell, but at least maybe 1/8 of an inch before it is at, you know, flush with the end of the power steering pump shaft. I suspect that's where our problem's going to come from. So what I want to do is pull the serpentine belt off. I actually have a alignment tool that uses a laser beam, which is awesome. And we're going to shoot from one pulley to the next to see if we're in a line. If we are, I'll be surprised, because at that point, other than just a crappy belt, I don't know what the cause could be. I'm making a big assumption right now. But being that it's had 2 belts and a tensioner put on it, and the original belt squeaked, you know, I doubt that 3 of them in a row are to blame. So this is what we're going to be using. This is the kit actually put out by Daco. That's the part number. I've had it for a while. It's your belt diagnostic kit. Now, I'm not paid for, endorsed, or sponsored by Daco. Just FYI, we'll throw that out there right now. As a matter of fact, I particularly do not care for their belts. Personal preference. I'm a bando man. If I have a choice to buy a belt, if I'm going to buy an aftermarket belt, I do like bandos. Mitsubishi, I guess. I do like OEM belts. Gates does okay, but they're a pretty close match to Daco, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this belt off anyways. I have found often, even if you correct pulley alignment issues, when you reinstall a belt that's been squawking for some time, it's hard to get it out of it. and that belt had some pretty severe edge wear. Let me show you. This is another clue where I think that we have an alignment issue, because hopefully you guys can see it. I can't see what's going on in the camera. There's a place to stick my light. But you see the cords in the belt here on the edge of it. You know, they're really starting to rip through, and they feel, you know, pretty jagged. And that's why, you know, that's one of the first things I saw, and kind of led me to believe that perhaps, you know, we do have a pulley alignment issue. You know, it's causing it to wear on the side of the belt more than normal. That's my guess. At any rate, what we're gonna do, we're gonna bust out the laser beam. I guess I should mention that prior to doing this, you know, we're gonna go through, check our idler pulleys, check our water pump, you know, the other idler pulley, which is relatively new, power steering, check it for end play, you know, noise, alternator, that kind of stuff. Now, I've already done that on this prior to starting my video. What's up, Mrs. O? You need to talk to me in private. Well, hopefully we can see here. So what we're going to be doing, this is our power steering down here, and this is our alternator. Now, this is the only adjustable pulley on the vehicle. I should say, you know, easily adjustable, factory adjustable. Of course, you could ultimately probably shim the alternator if need be. And inside this fancy kit, you do get the old click type, you know, belt tension gauges. These work great. If you don't know anything about them, just check into them. Dayco actually makes 2 of these. This one actually starts out at 100 pounds, which, you know, most new belt tensions around, I think deflection's around 120. So this is kind of a silly one to stick in the kit, I guess. And of course, then it comes with a belt wear indicator gauge for the EPDM rubber belts. So you can check them out. But most importantly, you buy this kit, so you get this sick laser beam. Oh yeah, cover your eyes, folks. So this thing's pretty sweet. What it does, you can see, hopefully you can see, it casts this laser beam from one pulley to the next. Now this is shaped like the grooves in the belt, so this is going to fit, you know, directly into our belt grooves. Now our laser, I have tested this, you know, a long time ago to see if the laser that it emits is, you know, when this is in a groove, does this laser beam that's emitted, you know, line up perfectly with this, you know, the center groove that it's straddling? And the answer to that is yes, it does. Now, this, I believe, is typically supposed to be put on the crankshaft pulley and shot from accessory to accessory. I believe on this truck, I think that it's going to be difficult to do because it hits the water pump. So, not only is it difficult, but it's almost impossible. We could go underneath, shoot it up, and be good. But what we'll do in this case, we're going to stick it on the power steering pump, let that stick on there, and then this is a little aiming device that is also magnetic. Now this is a little tricky because the radius that they cut into it, when they manufacture this tool, the magnets stick down below that radius. So on a bigger pulley, yeah, it works okay, but on these smaller pulleys, like on the alternator, it kind of wiggles on the magnet. So that's a design flaw. I suppose we could go in and grind those magnets down, assuming you can grind magnets. But what I like to do is the 2 little saddles that represent the belt grooves, we just stick it in the groove, and when you push it down in there, it holds it quite stationary. It takes the wobble out of it, allows us to, you know, rotate it down. Once we get our pulley lined up down here, our laser beam lined up, I'll tell you right now, it's out. And ideally, our laser beam should line up in this crack, so hopefully you guys can see that. And the laser beam is pretty fine. I'm gonna line this up, obviously in the same groove that we have it lined up down there. And hopefully you guys can see that. Can you see it? You probably can't. This video sucks. Is that any better? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna zoom you in. I don't know how laser beams show up on camera. It's actually pretty dark in here, but it's showing up pretty bright on the camera, it looks like. But we can see my assessment just looking at the power steering pulley. Yeah, you can see it on my finger. Maybe hopefully you can see it on that tool, but you can see we're approximately, you know, a 1/16th to an 1/8 inch off, so about 3/32 we'll call it. That's pretty good math, huh? and the power steering pulley does have to come in. Now, if we take our power steering pulley, we rotate it, stick the aiming device on the crankshaft, I think we'll also find that it is approximately the same amount off. So when you shine the pulley or the laser beam straight at the pulley, technically it should be, 3 grooves in, because that's the groove that we're straddling, and right on top. It's pretty precise. Usually you can see if you're just shooting it just real quick, pulley to pulley. I know the video doesn't represent it well, but we can clearly see that the laser beam is, inside the groove instead of, on top of the groove. I guess it would be. Turn the light back on. Just as a quick reference, I'm going to rotate my power steering pulley here. I don't know if you guys can see that down on the crankshaft, probably not, but you can see where we're in the valley instead of on the peak. So that gives a good representation. That's the alignment of our power steering pulley. Now, to resolve this problem, we'll pull this upper shroud off. I don't know if we're going to have to pull the lower shroud off. Let me take my laser beam back off. So the laser beam has a little micro switch in it, so when you stick it on, it automatically turns on. I suppose you could mount it on a shark if you wanted to. If you ever wanted a shark with a laser beam on its head. So we'll put that back in our little bit of kit. So there's that. I don't know if they have these on Amazon. If they do, I'll put them in the link below. If not, there's the number, folks. You should get one. They're fun to have. And if you have a cat, they'll chase it around. As I was mentioning, hopefully we can pull this upper fan shroud, stick our power steering pulley puller tool, and push that pulley on just a smidge, and ultimately resolve this squeaking problem. So get the shroud off. Have to remove these push nail fasteners down on the bottom of the shroud. Like I say, there's numerous tasks in which you have to remove the power steering pulley on the Chevrolets. So it doesn't surprise me to see it out of alignment. And I see this often enough, I guess, to know that when somebody has already done the belt multiple times, all the old school tricks to quiet the belt, nothing works. Usually you're looking at an alignment issue 9 times out of 10. Yeehaw. Put them in my pocket so I forget where I put them. Stick our light back up here. We pop this little guy open. Yeah, it's probably best if we just pull the whole push nail out. Unhook our hose. Pull this little guy out. Yeehaw. Put them in my pocket. I ain't gonna be able to find nothing. Now I got one down here I couldn't get to. There we go, little fella. I'll probably drop that on the floor. We'll spend the next 4 hours looking for it. I'll grab it right now. Out she comes. That's on the floor. Now hopefully, yeah, we should have enough room. Get in there. I'm thinking. Let me go get some pools. So what we're going to use to push it on, we're going to use this little guy. So this is, I bet this since Moby Dick was a sardine. My power steering pulley puller remover installer. Pretty common set. I think OTC makes them. This is the MAC number PSP set. So it pulls, it pushes. It does everything. Oh crap. Almost lost the piece. It does everything a power steering pulley puller should do. So the inside of these power steering shafts are threaded, which typically the threads are full of schmudge, we'll call it, rusty garbage. This one doesn't feel too bad. We're pretty fortunate. Usually you spend half the day trying to dig all the garbage out of it so you can thread a pulling apparatus in there. I want to get some spray. This one feels promising. Give her a little toot of some WD, not a sponsor. There she goes. That's good. Let's see if we can't thread this little guy in there now. You can actually use just a piece of threaded rod and a washer and a nut if you choose to do so. Works just the same. This is just a little fancier. Well, I should just pull the fan. Be real upset if my hand slips and I end up breaking the fan. Simple adjustment gone bad. So I'll thread this in. This is threading in surprisingly well. If yours does not go this easy, that's normal. At least here in beautiful upstate New York. That's good enough. Good enough for the girls I run with. So we'll install our pushing device. Totally did that like a ding dong. Alright. So this is our pushing device. Now this threaded rod is also hollow and threaded on the inside, which will thread over top of the piece we threaded into the threaded portion of the pump. It's a lot of talk about threads. And this has a bearing on it, so you can really give it the beans. Now we don't have to go far. Like I say, typically if you push these pumps in until they're flush with the face of the input shaft of the pump, usually that's good. Kind of a general rule. Like if old grandma was showing you how to do this, that's what she'd tell you. That's just kind of common practice. Alright, got some wrenches. Need a big dog, the 7/8 Americana wrench. You might have to grunt a little bit while you do this too. You don't want to start getting snug on us. This is probably why they quit putting it on where they did. Holy crap, it's good. I got quite enough lead in my pencil. Oh, I just heard it pop a little, so that's good. That's the sound you want to hear. That's the sound of progress, people. Holy cow. I'm going to have to get a longer ratchet here because my delicate little hands can't hold this little 5/8. Being some kind of sissy boy. Let's see. I'll figure out how to use a ratchet. It's my first day. There we go. Oh, get on there. I'm gonna have to give her all 100 and some odd pounds I got. Oh, man. Yes. If you talk like that, it helps. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, baby. They always come off easier than they go on, let me tell you that much. Okay, let's have a look. Whew. So that's pretty easy, really, if you think about it. We'll have a gander, see whereabouts we're at. To be honest with you folks, we're almost flush. So at this point, find a place for my freaking light, 'cause nothing's magnetic on the vehicle. And there we go, brake lines are. Where did I take care of this? Why am I always talking to myself? I love laser beams. Let's see, there we go. Man, I'm not in. I'll be honest with you folks. Let's see. Right in my eyes. It says not to do that in the instructions. I need to get my apparatus. I like saying that word. You can't see what I'm doing over here, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. Oh my God, you're so close. I'm gonna put it back on. We gotta give her just a little bit of a. It's still on here. Who am I kidding? Just gotta go just a smidge. Just a hair. Not a red one though, a blonde one. They're thinner actually. Not as stalky. I'm confused. What the heck am I doing wrong? I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know why you guys watch me. Get that snubbed up. Get my fan blade out of my way. Oh, it's about to get real now. Oh yeah. Almost out of breath. Maybe it's because I've been laying over like this. Wrong way. Okay. You know what? We're done. I'm pulling out all the way. Whew. Who's excited, huh? I can't hear you. Now we'll pull out our little stub that we put in there. I got you at the best possible angle. I'm sorry that you can't see a whole lot, but you get the idea. You put the puller in, you push hard, grunt, and now, as you can't see, perhaps you can, no you can't, our pulley is flush with the front of the pump input shaft. Just like Grandma said, we should just listen to her advice. We don't need these freaking laser beams. Yes, we do. Let's see now. Get that lined up. Oh, sweet baby. We're in business. Let me show you. So there we are now. I'm trying to hold that in that groove as steady as I can with my digits. Worst case scenario, when you're holding this in, you know, you just get it canted a little. But there it is. We're splitting it right down the middle now. Now, just so you know on the video, the line is not dead center down the center of the deco. So if you see it, you know, tailoring one side or the next, so hopefully you can see the line there. And then the laser beam. No beam, laser beam. No beam, laser beam. No beam, you get the point. Laser beam. Now as they say across the pond, we've got that all sorted. What I like to do is I grab my little 90-degree pick and clean the old belt debris out of the valleys just by inserting it in there and spinning the pulley around. Now that'll break loose any melted down rubber, debris, because as that belt has been spinning and taking rubber off the side of the belt, often it will get stuck, you know, in the grooves. And then just simply by taking the pick, running it through there. Now this pulley's relatively clean. I've already done the power steering pulley. I just got to get this little plastic pulley idler over here on the tensioner. Get that junk out of there, blow it off with a blow nozzle. Now if somebody has sprayed their belt with that nasty belt dressing, good luck. Because that stuff's like goo trying to get it out of here. Oftentimes you'll spend more time than you would if you just replace the pulley. These pulleys are usually relatively cheap. Once you've accomplished that task, we will fish around the serpentine belt. Make sure you know how it goes, because if you don't, you won't get it on. Something like so. But definitely take time to clean out the grooves. Totally going the wrong way with that. Now the AC belt I see is missing on this vehicle. The tensioner is junk. No big surprise. I have one ordered for the morning, so I'm not going to put the shroud and crap back on. Hopefully our fan doesn't chew it up. I'll hold it up with a little wire tie. We'll start it up, make sure our belt's nice and squeak free, and I think we're home free. That is pure redneck right there, folks. But look how well it works. Holds that right out of the way. Nice and secure. All right, fire in the hole. Stupid Chevy keys. belt so quiet, you can hear the leaky exhaust manifolds now. Well, there you have it, folks. Using a laser beam, awesome, right? To check pulley alignment, which is often overlooked when it comes to belt squeal or belt noises. You know, we often think, got a bad belt, got a bad bearing, something along those lines. On these vehicles with the adjustable power steering pulley, it's not uncommon, like I mentioned, or as we've seen, to have that pulley out of alignment and causing repetitive belt failure, you know, just like in this case, you know, 3 belts in a row, the OEM, this one, the next one, the tensioner, nothing fixed it. Kind of narrows down your possibilities, so don't neglect to check that if you're combating belt squealing noises yourself. And I guess we'll leave it at that. Put your questions, comments, criticisms, concerns down below in the comment box, and while you're down there, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell. Find us on our socials, which don't include many, only Facebook really. Patreon, you can find us there if you want to support us. Love what we do. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.